I'm Brett Premack, and this is my Filmmaker's blog for the video podcast series Ray Charles Genius. This spring I traveled around the country interviewing people about Ray Charles and his music. I stopped in Detroit and spoke with trumpeter Marcus Belgrave, the last surviving member of Ray's original small group. After 5 years on the road with Ray, Marcus settled in Detroit in the early 60s.
The sun died with my love when you left me blue.
I came here from the Philadelphia area, and the reason why I came here is because of some very dynamic musicians that I had heard about. The first one was Thad Jones, and the Jones brothers, of course, who were from Pontiac. That's one of the main reasons I came here. When the opportunity presented itself in 1962, when I was looking for some place to settle down after being on the road with Ray Charles for 5 years. I came at, like I said, at the end of an era. Everything that Detroit was kind of drying up then. In the last few years, the last 20 years, I guess, I've been sort of like people looking at me as a spokesman for Detroit, because I've been promoting Detroit so much as far as keeping the music alive.
Well, he's become the signature jazz trumpet player in this whole region, way beyond Detroit, actually. The fact of the matter is that Marcus, when you put his training with Ray Charles, his work with Motown, and the fact that he was around when progressive jazz began to develop, Marcus is now the premier horn player in the area, and he's got a tremendous style.
I had no idea that I could teach, although I had been doing it. Like I said, I've been teaching these guys by rote to learn this music. So in a formal way, I never got a degree from the school or anything, but my learning was in the street. But I had good teachers. I was put in charge of its youth band. They found out I was good at dealing with youth, so they put me in charge of the youth band, and ever since then that's what I've been doing with work with these young people. I seem to have a knack of being able to motivate these kids to be the best that they can, to draw out of them the best that they have in them.
I guess you could say, because I saw him almost every day, almost every day of my life. In some ways, he was always mentoring me. But when I started playing professionally at 18, first my father and my uncle Ray was the bass player. They taught me a lot. But then later on, when I started playing professionally, around 18, 20 years old, I started playing out with different people. And that's when Marcus started really mentoring me then.
What he does in working with young people, in working with people that are merely beginning to develop their careers, and then, of course, recording and participating with the other professionals. makes him an all-around, unusual, and very needed person in the music world.
Marcus was my first mentor when I was 15. It was the first job that I ever had. He hired me when I was a young bass player, and he was actually part of a really wonderful performing arts complex called Metro Arts, and that was a little complex that came about as a nonprofit that was established back in the early 70s, where a lot of us young players learned how to play, and Marcus was one of the teachers in that Metropolitan Arts Complex. And so he actually also came to my school when I was at Cass Tech and mentored many of us when we were right there in school during school hours. So we were able to learn jazz in a really wonderful way. We were able to learn it in an academic way during school, and then we were actually able to learn the nuts and bolts of how it actually functions in a community way from him. And he's continued to mentor people all through the years.
Michigan Detroit especially, continues to produce some of the greatest musicians, entertainers, writers, artists, period, as well as many other things. But in the art community, Detroit, to my estimation, has always been #1.
I just think the musicians community here is extremely rich. As a working musician, you have access to all different facets of music, all kinds of music, anything from traditional gospel, contemporary gospel, traditional jazz, contemporary jazz, R&B, neo soul. We even have like a contingent of avant-garde music here. I mean, really blues. You can pretty much play all, and definitely classical music also. You pretty much, really the sky's the limit in terms of the kinds of music that you can access as a working musician here.
Anybody who plays with me usually excel to the point where they surpass me and go on, which is great, because I feel it good in being able to motivate that kind of energy. These kids have raised my estimation of myself to the point that that seems to be my legacy. And only advice that I can give them a lot of times is look into yourself, look inside yourself, see where you want to go. And follow your dream, and they usually come out doing just that or better.
Life. It's life. It's so peculiar. You get so wet in the rain. You know it too. You get so warm in the sunshine. My suntan. It doesn't pay to complain. Oh, I never complain. When I get up each morning, there's nothing to breathe but air. Yeah, when I